Now, let me go through the critical issues that the guide for the perplexed attempts to address. So there are so many issues, but I think these stand out, the ones I'm going to enumerate or list here. So the first one is whether there is God or not. Yeah, so even though it doesn't have a specific chapter where it talks about it, but throughout the book you come across places where that becomes like something that has to be addressed. And it's not addressed through the Bible, so not really. It uses the Bible, but it's more through philosophy and logical argument. So whether there is God or there is no God, whether there is a first cause, as Aristotle calls it, or not. So that's something that is an issue that is very well addressed in the book. Then there is the issue of the nature of that God. Now, if we conclude through the logical arguments that there is a God of some sort, first cause, you can call it whatever you can call it. What is their nature? What is its nature? So Maimonides tells us what other philosophers think, of course, Aristotle and others, but he also tells us what he himself concludes. For example, he tells us that God is incorporeal, and incorporeal, of course, we are going to have a video talking about corporeality. Incorporeal here means it doesn't have a form or substance, which I think in that time was so hard to prove, but I don't think it's that hard to prove today, that there is a possibility of intelligence being without form and without substance or matter. And that's because today we know, for example, programs that run on systems, and you can't really, or the electricity, you can't really say this is the form or the substance of electricity or or a program. But you know it's there, even though you can't see the form or the substance of it. So he was trying to explain that the nature of God is like that, it's incorporeal. And then he was explaining the nature of unity of God. And unity of God here is more like you can't count God, say is one or many. And he goes into detail, and this is not his own concept. It's a concept that he shares with Aristotle and other philosophers, that the universe is a living thing, basically. It's a living thing, and it is interconnected. So because of that, then there is a logical argument of how did it come by and how does it function? Does it function by different players? Even though I think that argument can be very weak if you consider modern can call them architectures, especially of information technology. I'm thinking here, for example, of a blockchain. A blockchain is on a peer-to-peer network. So you can't say that because it's now possible, it's provable that a peer-to-peer network can function in harmony and have a consensus mechanism. That could be the case with the intelligences in the universe. Anyway, so that's an issue, the nature of God, the eternity of the universe, whether it's created, whether it's always been there and will always be there, the nature of time, and then understanding the layers of understanding of Jewish religious doctrine. And here we are talking about this hidden knowledge that is with some people, and some people cannot access it. We have logical explanation of religious teachings. So, and I need to mention this, throughout the book, even though Maimonides was a religious person, let me quote him. He says, man should only believe what he can grasp with his intellectual faculties or perceive by his senses, or what he can accept on trustworthy authority. Beyond this, nothing should be believed. So he was against this blind faith belief. He said it's not a good thing. So you should only believe what you can see, what you can prove, what you can sense, but everything else should not be believed. And I found that to be so interesting. It seems like it was coming from a different era when it comes to religious beliefs.